All right, welcome 4J and Sayusla in Oregon, who's ever joining us today. I am excited. We are excited. Today's kind of a fun day. We get to celebrate Women's History Month. I'm partnering with my buddy, Sayusla District Librarian, Miss Mackenzie, and she is live in Depot Bay. You can see the ocean behind her. And she's bringing us Miss Carrie Newell. She is a marine biologist extraordinaire, and she's making history. We're going to learn all about her and what she does today. And Miss Mackenzie, introduce yourself. Tell us what's going on. What are you seeing?
So I'm Miss Mackenzie, K-12 District Teacher Librarian for Sayusla School District in Florence, Oregon. And today I am at Depot Bay. You can see the beautiful Pacific Ocean behind me. It's 50-something sunny and beautiful. And we're so excited to meet with Carrie Newell today. So I'll tell you, in true Carrie Newell fashion, she's still out on the ocean with a trip of a group of tourists doing some whale watching. And while I've been sitting here, I have spotted plenty of whales out by that 1 mile buoy marker. So we are going to meet with her to talk about sea lions, seals, tide pooling, whales, and all that good stuff. And one thing I wanted to say before we get started is I wanted to mention something about digital citizenship. So teacher librarians celebrate, champion, and teach digital citizenship. And Mrs. Page and I are demonstrating good digital leadership through these virtual field trips. So we use technology. We not only remember to communicate with kindness and compassion when we're in online environments, but we use the power of the technology at our fingertips to communicate globally and to do things that we've never done before, like live in-person on-site virtual field trips in the middle of a pandemic. Okay, so I'll hand it back over to you, Mrs. Page.
Awesome. Thank you, Miss Mackenzie. It's so good to see you. We're excited to touch base with Miss Carrie. All right, so folks, we are welcoming Miss Mackenzie's crew from Sayusla. This is our first time we're live streaming. Fingers crossed that that's all working right now to YouTube. And we are going to go ahead and play our recording. We got to meet with Miss Carrie 2 weeks ago where we recorded this. She gave us so much time. We couldn't fit it all into this time. So we'll have some extra links for you to explore after we're done. But I'm going to go ahead and play what we saw. We're going to be cutting in and out to different explorations that we saw. I hope you enjoy this field trip, and keep in mind any questions that you have, because we're going to stop at the end and hopefully Miss Carrie will have joined us by then, fingers crossed, and she can answer your questions. So keep your questions, write them down somewhere, and we'll get to those when we are done. So let me go ahead and get my screen shared and we will get this party going.
Hi, Jennifer Mackenzie, K-12 District Teacher Librarian in Sayusla School District.
Hello, I'm Amy Page. I get to be District Librarian in Eugene School District, and we are here. Check that out. Woo! Yes, we're with the whales today. And look who is with us.
Hi, I'm Carrie Newell. This is Coda, my whale dog. Coda.
Hello, Coda.
Coda. Whales? Coda. Yes, yes. Are you excited? Are you excited? Yes. Yes. Oh, I know.
Awesome. Oh my goodness, so cool.
Okay.
We get to go on inside and we're gonna see some cool things inside her museum.
Come and join us.
All right, so we are inside and Miss Carrie is gonna tell us a little bit about herself and her beautiful museum.
Hi, y'all. Great to have you in my museum. So, I'm a marine biologist. I work with gray whales. I've worked with gray whales since 1992, long time. It's really cool because we have these summer resident whales. I have them all named. They come right up to the boat at times and they're so amazing. Coda and the whales love each other. I'll have to tell you some stories about that in just a little bit. We're going to go look at Boiler Bay. We're going to do a really fun trip here in just a couple minutes. We're going to head down the cliff and we're going to see the boiler at Boiler Bay. What happened in the early 1900s is that a ship crashed and one of its two steam boilers washed ashore, and this is huge. And as we go to Boiler Bay, we're going to see the spray zone critters, and then the high zone critters, the mid zone, and then the low zone critters. And each zone has unique organisms. So in the spray zone, we're going to see tiny, tiny little periwinkles. And then we'll see what's called a finger limpet. We are actually in the spray zone right now. You see these itsy bitsy tiny little snails, they're called periwinkles. And that's typical of the spray zone habitat. So we have big waves coming over these rocks during high tide. We're at low tide right now, so we're going to see a lot more critters. During high tide, everything's going to be covered with water. And so we are still in the spray zone right here. There's a couple of other creatures here I want to point out. So we see a lot of barnacles covering this rock. And so the barnacles are up in the spray zone. But now we also see these little, what's called finger limpets. See my finger? There's a finger limpet. They're tiny little limpets. It's a type of mollusk. So organisms that are typically found in the spray zone are finger limpets, periwinkles. Look at how tiny that is. That's actually a big tiny one. And then we also have the barnacles. So spray zone. And then in the high zone, we're going to see shore crabs and black turbans. Now we are in the high zone. The most characteristic organism in the high zone is this black turban. And if you notice, on the underside has a little trap door that closes off the opening so they don't lose water. So this is a living black turban, characteristic of the high zone here. And you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And then when we get to the mid zone, we're going to see the ochre sea stars and California mussels. So we are in the mid zone right now. Mussels are the characteristic organism in the mid zone. These are California mussels. So lots of California mussels here. So this is all the mid zone. So you're looking down here and here, and it looks like just tiny little pieces of rock. But these are actually aggregating sea anemones. Do you see how they squirt up? And so what happens is they form groups, aggregates. They clone themselves like we talked about earlier. And to camouflage themselves, they literally grab rocks. So they have tentacles that grab rocks in the water column. So if some rocks are coming in, they'll grab one and they'll go grab another one. And they'll put it all over their body. And so now they blend in with their environment. Isn't that cool? You wouldn't even think that's a living creature, but these are all aggregating in sea anemones. And then when we get to the low zone, we're going to see some really cool things. We're going to see purple sea urchins. And when the spines fall off and all you have left is the green round thing, that's called a test. Can you guys remember that? Test. So the spines fall off and we have a test that's left. We should also see my most favorite critter called a gumboot chitin. All chitins have 8 plates. You can see the 8 white plates. And we should see a bunch of these critters here in just a little bit when we get there. We have a little pocket that's a deep pocket here. We have a little low zone tide pool here. We have again the giant green sea anemones, and then we have a little purple sea urchin. Gorgeous.
That is gorgeous.
And then we have here surf grass. And then, oh my goodness, look at this. It has 8 plates. That's a chitin. That's called a hairy chitin. Right there. You see that? 8 plates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then look at this. That is the mouth, but also the anus of a giant green sea anemone. Again, don't put your finger in there because you're putting it in its mouth, but also its anus. So you can see it right there. Very cool. So in this cute little tide pool, we have a number of giant green sea anemones, and then some pink coral and seaweed. We have 2 types of that, the rock-like form and then the leafy form. And then we have some black turbans. All kinds of cool stuff. So with the purple sea urchins you see, they actually have little holes that they're living in, and they actually make those holes themselves. They have teeth that drill into the rocks, and they live in their own little hole that they made.
There's a little hermit crab.
We found my very, very favorite creature. This is called a gumboot chitin. Here is its mouth, there's its foot, and it rolls up like in a ball to protect itself. And it's soft, and it feels like velvet. And it's related to snails, but it's so cool. Isn't that awesome? It has 8 plates that are embedded in its mantle tissue.
Okay, remember the boiler that Miss Carrie told us about at the beginning when we were in her museum? That's it. Low tide. It's been here since the early 1900s. Let's go see some more. Here's a line shore crab, you guys. Look at that.
We just lucked out.
Moving for us. This is so cool. And there's another one right there. I don't know if you can see that one. Side, but this is a line shore crab. It looks pretty cool.
These are what are called cnidarians. I know it's kind of a hard word. Cnidarians. They have stinging cells. They have 2 different forms. They have a polyp. And I want you kids act like a polyp. You're gonna be a sea anemone now. You'll put your tentacles in your mouth up. Polyp. Now you're gonna be like a jellyfish, a medusa. Mouth and tentacles down. Okay, polyp and medusa. We are now in our seal, sea lion, and otter room. And I want to let you know how to distinguish between a seal and a sea lion. Don't get these 2 confused. If it's a seal, they have holes behind their eyes. Seals have holes behind their eyes. They have short front flippers. They have nails at the tip. They cannot put their rear flippers underneath their body. They just do a banana profile. They kind of do like a caterpillar crawl. Whereas if it's a sea lion, they have ear flaps. You see that ear flap right there? They have ear flaps. And then they have nails a third of the way down, and they scratch themselves. They can put their rear flippers underneath their body and kind of walk on all 4. If I was a sea lion, I can walk on all 4. And they're typically darker in color, whereas seals are lighter in color. And there's other differences, but those are the main ones. But today, we're gonna see seals in just a little bit. Okay, we're coming up upon the harbor seals. I want you to look for that hole behind the eye. That's the ear. They have short front flippers, nails at the tip, and they propel themselves with their rear flippers. Many times they do a little banana profile, head up, tail up. We see a baby on the right. That baby was born last May. And quite as big as the adults. They're always looking at us. Look it. Oh, now I'm playing hide and seek.
Pregnant one.
Oh, there's
Look
a
at how
fat
cute.
female. She's pregnant. See the one that has a big fat belly? That's a pregnant one.
Oh,
Huge belly. Do you see her?
yes.
One right in the middle.
Oh, this one right here. Oh my goodness. She's ready to pop.
She is.
There's the little baby.
Then we're going to see California sea lions. Now, one more thing about California sea lion. You see the forehead here. Now, with a California sea lion, when they're 5 years or less, they have no forehead. It's just straight. But the older they get, the bigger their forehead gets. And so this one, by the size of his forehead, he's about 8. Some of the big ones we'll see today that have huge foreheads. In California sea lions, the females look at the forehead of the males, and the bigger the forehead, it's like, I like your forehead. And we'll see that in the field in just a few minutes here. So what we have here are all male California sea lions. No females here. Females don't come to Oregon, and we know they're sea lions because we can see their ear flaps, and we know they're California sea lions because they're small, dark, and they bark, ar, 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 as you can hear. And looking at them, you'll notice that these are all kind of grumpy males. They have no females, and you can age them by looking at the size of their forehead. Oh, look, this one's right down here. It's scratching itself. Sea lions have their nails a third of the way down on their flippers, and that's what they use to scratch themselves with. And when you're looking at them to try to age them, what's happening is you can see the ones with the bigger foreheads are older males. And we're gonna wait a minute till they're done barking. Now with California sea lions, you can age them by the size of their forehead. 5 and younger California sea lion males have no forehead. 6 years, it gets a little bigger, 7, a little bigger, 8, 9, 10, up to 12 or 15. They get bigger, gets bigger and bigger. So we have a huge male here and one that's scratching himself. They're probably about 12 years of age, these big ones. They also get a lot of white on the top of their head as they get older. And then these young ones here that are making noise. The one that's barking right now, he's about 8. And you can see they range from about 6 to about 9. And there's a big male. He's got a huge forehead. Look at that big forehead. And then there's one with a mohawk. So these are all male California sea lions. Very cool. So we are going to talk about gray whales right now. Gray whales are my favorite. So they are 40 to 45 feet long, 45 tons. Remember, about a ton a foot, and about the size of a school bus. A school bus is about 40 feet long. So a gray whale, when you have your awesome model, think that when it's living, it's the size of a school bus, huge. So on baleen whales that feed with baleen, they have 2 blowholes. You see the 2 blowholes? That's what they breathe with. They have to come to the surface and they'll go. So they exhale and then they inhale. Now if you're a toothed whale, like an orca, you just have 1 blowhole. 1 blowhole with a killer whale, any toothed whale, dolphins, killer whales, sperm whales. But if you're a baleen whale, a gray whale, a blue whale, a humpback, you have 2. So when we're looking at a gray whale, first we're going to look for the blow. Then we'll see the back. Then this is called the dorsal hump. Knuckles. If we're lucky, we'll see the tail fluke. We call it being fluked when they go up. And then they'll stay underwater for 3 minutes. If the whale is going away from you or towards you, we're going to look for the heart-shaped blow. Isn't that gorgeous? Only gray whales have that heart-shaped blow. Oh! So that's what the blow looks like. That's what the blowholes look like. When they hump up, that's what they look like. And that's a tail fluke. And then they leave a fluke print. So when you're actually out there, many times you can watch their fluke prints. Instead of tracks like a dog or cat makes, they make fluke prints. Now, there's some whales I want to tell you about. Again, we don't have them here yet, but they'll be here June, July, August, September, and October. My favorite whale, his name is Eagle Eye. He has a natural pigmentation right near his dorsal hump. He was born in 1994 to snake eyes, so he's 28. He's my honey. I love him. We have another one. Her name is Rambolina. She got hit by a boat, and she's got prop cuts. And she's brought her babies here. And her name is, again, is Rambolina. And then we have another one. His name is Blanco. He's very white. Blanco means white in Spanish, and he's a very white whale. Oh, and I gotta tell you some stories. My other dog, her name was Kita. Well, Blanco, oh my goodness, he was such a stinker. He would like to come right up to Kita, and he would blow in her face, and he'd go, and Kita would go nuts. And Kita jumped in the water right next to Blanco. I got her out immediately, but Blanco said, oh, that was fun. And he kept on playing with us. So he would love to play with us. And so with my dogs, I have Coda now. Coda, come on. Come on, let's go say hi to the kids. Come on, come on. Yes. And we're gonna say hi. And when I've trained both Kita and Coda, what we do is we'll go on the boat, and we'll go on the boat with her a little bit. And gray whales have really stinky breath, like the worst fart you've ever smelled. And when Kita and Coda were puppies, we got downwind, and they smelled them, they saw them, and they heard them. And I'd say, whale, 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 whale. Coda will find whales for us. She sniffs them out. So just think of like the worst fart you've ever smelled. That's what gray whale breath smells like. And it's, ooh, stinky. Now, I want to tell you about one other whale. Her name is Scarback. Scarback got hit by an exploding harpoon. So what happened in the mid-1980s is a harpoon came and blew out a huge chunk of blubber, and orange whale lice are living in it. Not true lice, they actually help the whale. They eat the dead skin. And so with Scarback, she still has this wound, and the whale lice are still in it, eating her dead skin. She came last summer and she had a baby with her. And so she has a baby about every 3 years, and she'll bring it here. And so besides whale lice on their body, they have one other thing. They have what are called barnacles. This barnacle is unique only to a gray whale. So if a gray whale would die, so would this species of barnacle. Barnacles live on their head and then they filter feed with their legs. See their legs sticking out? They filter feed. And so the barnacles and the whale lice, they both live on gray whales. And the reason they can is gray whales only travel at 4 miles an hour, so they go really slow, and so the barnacles and the whale lice can hold on. Faster whales, like blue whales, killer whales, dolphins, they travel too fast, so they can't have barnacles and whale lice in their body. So I want to show you one more thing. Oh, look at this picture. The whales, they love the dogs. They come really close. So here is a gray whale head. Here's some baleen. I want all of you kids, touch your fingernails right now. Can you touch them? Okay, that's keratin. That's what baleen is made out of. So this hangs from your top jaw, and then right here, top jaw, and then they have a 2-ton tongue. I cut the rug out like a tongue. Can you imagine if you had a 2-ton tongue? Say that 10 times. Say 2-ton tongue, 2-ton tongue. And then they suck up the food, very similar to, they eat what are called mysid shrimp, very similar to this krill. Very tiny. I mean, they're like, and then they lift their tongue up and they swallow the food in a throat that's only the size of a grapefruit, not very big. That's pretty amazing that an animal as big as a school bus has a throat only the size of a grapefruit. Pretty amazing.
How much of that little tiny shrimp, is that what that was?
They eat a ton a day.
Oh my goodness.
2,000 pounds.
Wow.
Wow. So let's walk into here and we're going to see some life-size tail flukes. So this is from what's called a bowhead whale, and they have really long baleen, longest baleen of any whale. And their tail is 20 feet wide. And then we have here, we have a humpback, a 12-foot tail. We have a gray with a 10-foot tail and an orca with a 9-foot tail. And what happens right now is the gray whales are traveling up to Alaska. And I'll show you on my map here in just a second. And once in Alaska, 25,000 of them feed nonstop. But there's actually 232 whales that have decided, not going to Alaska, I'm going to stay off the northwest coast. A lot of them right off Depot Bay. And those are ones that have all named. And then they also head down to Mexico. So we have whales going northbound in March, April, and May. So they leave Mexico where they mate and give birth to their calves, and then they go do 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 all the way up to Alaska. And then the end of May, June, July, August, September, October, like I said a minute ago, we have 232 whales who said, yeah, I'm just going to stay off the northwest coast here. These are the ones I named, Scarback and Eagle Eye and Blanco. They stay here. And then December, January, and the beginning of February, they all decide, let's go back south. And these pick up with these guys, and they all go down to Mexico, where again they mate and give birth to their calves. Isn't that kind of cool? So we have whales off our coast almost every month. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned some cool stuff, and I'd love to be able to teach you some more stuff next time and see some other really cool adventures. Have fun.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right, my friends. Carrie was awesome. Let's see where we're at with our I'm gonna get myself spotlighted and then I'm gonna stop sharing. And we're gonna find Miss Mackenzie and see what's going on with her. All right, Miss Mackenzie, are you ready or should I read first and then?
This is actually perfect timing, everyone. Carrie and Coda, there they are. They just got off the water. I just watched them come in under the bridge into the bay. And yeah, do we want to maybe do some dive into questions and answers here? And let me flip my camera around.
Yes, absolutely. Do you remember your question?
What's your oldest whale?
What's your oldest whale? Hold on a sec. They're just getting into our museum.
That's the first time we were called.
All right, students, we just got inside. Let me flip the camera again.
We're going to the whale room.
Okay, we're gonna head on over to the whale room. We're inside Miss Carrie's museum, whale eco excursions. Let me give you a little peek in here. You saw this on the video, but here's kind of a little spin around of the whale room. And now I'm gonna put this tripod down. And Miss Carrie, oh, you can see Coda, everyone. Coda's in the background too.
Coda, come on. Up, up, up. Come here, Coda. Want to see Coda? There's Coda.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm so glad you could make it, Miss Carrie. So we have one of our students who asked about the name of your oldest whale that you know and how old it is.
Scarback, she is at least in her late 40s. She could be a much older. She could be in her 80s. But I know she's at least in her late 40s.
Wow.
So.
Wow. That's awesome. Thank you, Levi, for your question. How about Desmond?
What's the smallest whale in the world?
The smallest whale in the world is probably the pygmy right whale. And there's also there's pygmy right whales, and that's the smallest baleen whale. And as far as not including the dolphins and porpoises, but like the smallest bigger whale would be like there's a dwarf sperm whale and a pygmy sperm whale, and they're only about 9 to 10 feet long.
Oh, thank you. Good question. Lee, what's your question?
What's the size of a baby whale?
The size of a baby gray whale?
Yeah.
Baby gray whales, when they're born, they're about 10 to 12 feet long. So that's pretty long, isn't it?
Yes, that's big. I don't want to be birthing that.
No, no.
Right. All right, Miss Hannah.
I have a couple questions.
Okay, what's your questions?
What is a black tarpon?
What is a black turban?
Yeah.
A black turban is a snail shell. It's round and it's black. And have you ever seen a tree snail?
No.
Okay, well, it's related to them. So.
Did you have one more question, Hannah?
Yeah. So this is about, I can't remember if it was a sea lion or a seal. but in the video we saw one of those that was a baby, and
it was a harbor seal. Yeah, it was a baby harbor seal. It was 1 year old, not a baby, but it was a year-old harbor seal. It was born last May.
Awesome. Thank you, Hannah.
I'm so impressed. They listened so well, didn't they?
Yes, absolutely.
They did so good.
Finley.
Next question.
Finley. Okay, we'll skip over to Wyatt. Wyatt, do you have a question?
I forgot it.
Okay, thanks. We'll try. How about Rivka?
How long does it take? I forgot, but if it's what kind of seal or it is, but how long does it take a seal to be pregnant? As the same as humans or not?
No, it's less than humans. With seals, it depends on what kind of seal it is. But a lot of seals, they're pregnant right around 6 months, sometimes 3, sometimes 7. So 3 to 7 months, depending on the species of seal.
No.
Awesome. Thank you, Rivka. How about Cameron?
How many seals have you seen?
How many seals have you seen?
How many seals have I seen in my lifetime?
Yeah.
Thousands. We see today, I just got off the ocean. We had whales. I went on 3 whale watching trips. But on the first 2 trips, we had about 10 harbor seals. And when your teachers did the trip with me, we had 12 to 15. So we range from about 10 to 15 harbor seals in the bay every day. But there's other places, north and south. Some places can have 200 of them at one time.
Wow.
I also had another.
Okay, we're gonna let some other people ask some questions because we've got lots of hands raised. Just
Okay.
one question at a time, if you would. Thanks for your patience, folks. How about Nolly?
Where did the whale get the scar thing?
Oh, Scarback?
Yeah.
She got hit by an exploding harpoon. I'm gonna go grab Scarback's model. I'll be right back, okay? I'll be right back.
Okay. Good question, Nolly.
Hey, I wanted to say, everyone, I saw a bunch of seals right as Carrie was coming into the bay. I saw 3 seals, and they kind of look like puppies in the water. Don't you think, Mrs. Page? Whenever I see seals riding the waves, I think they look like Labrador retrievers. You see their little head poking out. Yeah, they're absolutely adorable.
So fun.
Yeah.
So
Hey, well,
did you hear? Did Miss Carrie see whales while she was out there?
Absolutely, because I saw him just from the bridge, and there are 2 buoys. There's like a mile marker and a 2-mile marker buoy straight outside of the bay. And I was sitting here for about a half an hour before we went live, and I mean, I saw at least 5 spouts.
Wow.
So they're just hanging out, chilling, eating. And during the really popular months, like my birthday's in September, so every year all I want to do is come and do a whale watching tour with Carrie for my birthday, and you will see just a bazillion whales out there. It's like it's like a whale party. And then the other thing I'll share while she's getting Scarback, the only thing better than whale watching
is watching other people for the first time seeing whales. So when you're here in Depot Bay, they have this little tiny downtown, and during those hot, excitable whale months, you'll see people along the bridge spotting whales, and you'll see people crying because it's like a very magical experience, especially if you've never seen a whale before. You'll see people crying and hugging and like just jumping up and down with excitement. It's so amazing. And right at the mouth of the bay, you will sometimes see whales come up that close. So here's Carrie again.
Oh, I got
Just kidding. Another thing I could show you while we're in here, she has a skull of a gray whale down there. Maybe she can say something about that too.
So sorry about that. Here is Scarback. Can all of you see Scarback?
Yes.
You see her scar? Okay, well, she got hit by an exploding harpoon. So I'm going to turn her on this side, and a boat came with, it looks like an arrow with an explosive on it. And they were trying to hit her right here, but they missed. And then they came down. Actually, let me turn her this way. So you see her scar. They were trying to hit her on this side, but they hit her up here and it went boom, boom. And it blew out a whole big chunk of blubber. And now what's filled in here are little tiny orange whale lice. And I'll show you that in a little bit. But what I wanted to tell you, we just got back off the ocean. On our last trip, we had 3 whales. We had 2 males and 1 female. And they were going and they were playing together. They were going like, hi, how you doing? And we saw the tails and we saw the flippers and the head would come up and they would go like, oh, hey. And so we saw all kinds of cool stuff, all 3 of them at times. It would go, all 3 of them were coming together and doing all kinds of stuff.
Oh my gosh, how magical. That's wonderful.
So yeah, it was good. We had
Awesome.
3 trips and whales on all the trips.
Wow, what a great day. It's beautiful there. Okay, we'll take 2 more questions, my friends. How about Isaac?
More of the people that are trying to hit Scarback with the arrow, were they trying to get her blubber so they can make oil out of it?
Yeah, they were trying to kill her to take her blubber and to take her meat and eat her.
And Miss Carrie, that's not legal, correct? Or is it legal in some parts of the world?
Some parts of the world they kill whales, unfortunately. I mean, and we're trying to say that whales are more important alive than they are dead. So we're trying to prevent that. And there are some people up in Washington want to kill our gray whales from here. So, which is sad.
Right. Okay, how about our last one, Mohammed? Oh, Mohammed, do you have a question?
Who is the strongest whale?
What was the question?
Who is the strongest whale?
The strongest or the longest?
The strongest.
The strongest whale. What's the strongest whale?
The strongest whale. So I'm going to say probably, I'm going to give you 3 whales, depending how you look at it. The biggest whale is the blue whale. And the blue whale, the biggest one was 110 feet long, 200 tons. That's huge. So that's the biggest. And since they're so big, they'd be very strong. But killer whales, orcas, are very strong for their size. They're only about 25 feet long. So only about 1/4 the size of a blue whale. But they can kill blue whales because they work together in groups and they're stronger in groups. And then sperm whales are the largest toothed whales. They're about 60 feet long, and they eat the giant squid. And the giant squid can be over 100 feet long. And so they battle back and forth. And many times the squid kills, or the sperm whale kills the squid, but sometimes the squid kills the sperm whale. So depending how you look at it, the biggest is the blue. Orcas are strong because they work in groups, and sperm whales, they're just big and strong.
Okay, Miss Carrie, I just have a burning question here. Is it the sperm whale, or what's the whale that can dive the deepest?
Sperm whale.
It is the
10,000 feet for 2 hours.
Wow.
So
because they hunt that giant squid, which is really deep, right?
absolutely, you're exactly right.
Yeah. Wow.
Whale or Moby Dick, a sperm whale?
The whale in Moby Dick was a sperm whale.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And there are albino sperm whales. There's an albino sperm whale right now in the Atlantic Ocean, and they call that one Moby Dick. One right this second, living.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Totally cool. Okay, I can't help it. Do you mind one more question?
As many questions as you want. I'm all yours now. I'm done. So as many as you want.
You were so fabulous. Let's try Sophia. Oh, she just disappeared from my screen. I lost her. Okay, how about where are my other peeps here? There's Sophia. Sophia, what's your question?
How old can a whale be?
You know, the oldest whale is a bowhead whale, and we have bowhead whales in here. I'll show you in a minute, but they have aged bowhead whales at 234 years old. So 234. And I can show you, do you want to see one? A
Yes.
model of one, and the tail and the baleen of one?
Yes, we would love that.
Okay.
Go grab that. Yeah.
No, it's right here.
Oh, I know.
Can you
Oh,
do
move it. Yes.
Yep.
Let me just do a flip here real quick, friends. There.
This is a bowhead whale. It has a bowed head. This is the long baleen of a bowhead whale.
You see that? Oh, wow. That's super long.
And then this is the tail of a bowhead whale.
Whoa.
See that? It's huge. 20 feet wide.
Wow.
And do you want to know how they figure out how old they are?
Yes.
Well, baleen whales eat for 6 months, and then they fast for 6 months. And when they eat, they accumulate wax in their ears. And when they don't eat, no wax. So if they die, they get a whole bunch of wax in their ear. You pull out a waxy earplug, and then just like rings on a tree, you can count how old they are. Isn't that cool?
Yes, that is crazy. That's awesome. All right, my friends. Well, Miss Carrie, we are so grateful for the time you gave us. And Miss Mackenzie, this was so fun. I feel like we have a little newscast going here. We're live at Depot Bay. It was fabulous.
Great.
Yeah, let me do one quick shout out because I know my family's watching in the Midwest in North Dakota and Minnesota. So hello, family.
Sweet. Well, we are going to move on. Let's everybody give Miss Carrie some virtual thank yous. I hope you feel them all.
Hi.
You're so grateful. And we're going to hang out and we're going to read a book together. And so if y'all want to just hang out, and we will say goodbye to Miss Mackenzie and Miss Carrie. Thank you so much. It was lovely seeing you. And hopefully we'll get to do it again. That was awesome. Yay. All right, the rest of us, we're going to read together here. So I'm going to get myself situated. And Miss Victoria, do you think you could get me in the spotlight here so we can read together? I'm not seeing myself here. Here I am. I got it. Here we go. All right. Oh, I think, I'm sorry. I think I need to add a spotlight here. There we go. We're back. Okay, so our story this week had to be, oh, I got to get rid of my background because our story is not going to show up. So we're going to remove that really quick so this works. There we go. All right, so our book this week is called Humphrey, the Lost Whale. And this is a true story, my friends. This is written by Wendy Takuda and Richard Hall, and the illustrations are by Hanako Wakayama. Oh my gosh, sorry, I just mutilated that. But this is a true story about a whale who was lost in its migration, got turned around, and it ended up in the San Francisco Bay. So I think you're gonna like this little adventure. So let's get started. Humphrey, the Lost Whale. Our story begins on a sunny day, far out at sea. A pod of humpback whales was traveling south together for the winter. Humpback whales are magnificent creatures that sing beautiful songs to each other underwater. In the whole world, there are very few of them, so each one is quite special. And they are intelligent. Every winter they travel south, and every summer they head north, and they always know the way. Just like we learned that even whales can make mistakes. One whale named Humphrey made a big one. He turned away from his friends and wandered under the Golden Gate Bridge in the San Francisco Bay. Do you see him there? Everyone was surprised to see Humphrey in the bay. People don't get to see humpback whales very often because they usually stay in very deep waters. It was a special treat to see one so close to the city of San Francisco. Humphrey was a spectacular sight, as long as a city bus and as big as 7 elephants put together. He could come up to breathe. He would come up to breathe, appearing as if by magic, and people would stop whatever they were doing to watch him. Then Humphrey did something that no whale had ever done. Instead of swimming back out to sea, he went the wrong way up the Sacramento River. The big river became smaller and smaller as Humphrey traveled upstream. He was looking for the ocean, but it was clear Humphrey was lost. Hundreds of people came to see Humphrey in the river. They would stare out at the water, waiting for him to come up for air. Then with a big whoosh, his giant back would appear, and someone would shout, "There he is!" He was an amazing sight, but something was wrong. Whales are supposed to live in the salt water of the ocean, not in the fresh water of rivers. A whale would die if it stayed in fresh water too long. Humphrey was in trouble. Everyone knew that Humphrey had to be turned back toward the ocean, but no one knew how to do that. After all, something like this had never happened before. The farther Humphrey went, the more worried everyone became. They wondered whether he was getting anything to eat, whether he was getting sick, or whether he would beach himself in the river. One day, Humphrey squeezed under a tiny bridge. It was so small, no one could understand how he had done it. Now he was really in trouble. Humphrey was trapped. The river beyond the bridge was very shallow and narrow. It was so small, Humphrey could hardly turn around. There he was, a whale stuck in a tiny stream right in the middle of a farm field. It was hard to believe. Something had to be done to get him out of there fast. Humphrey looked sick. The scientists knew he would die if he didn't get back to the ocean. Time was running out. The people trying to save Humphrey would have to move fast. The scientists, Coast Guard officers, and many others got together to work out a plan to save him. They decided to bang long pipes together underwater and scare him back down the river. At the same time, They would play a recording that would broadcast underwater the sounds of whales eating. Maybe Humphrey would be so hungry and lonely he would swim towards the ocean. It worked. Humphrey turned around and started swimming back down the river. Everyone was relieved, but the danger wasn't over yet. When Humphrey arrived at the little bridge, he stopped. He was afraid to go under it. He couldn't find a space big enough to go through. People kept banging the pipes. Humphrey seemed flustered. What would he do? As the pipes kept clanging, Humphrey became angry. He rolled from side to side and thrashed his great tail. People stopped banging the pipes. But Humphrey's friends wouldn't give up. They knew they had to get him past that little bridge. If they didn't, he would die in the river. The people trying to save him decided to make the space under the bridge bigger. They brought in a huge crane and worked through the night to clear away some of the old pilings. Would Humphrey notice the difference? The next day, the people began banging the pipes together again. Clang, clang. The boats moved closer to Humphrey to urge him toward the bridge. This was his last chance. Everyone watched nervously. Humphrey bravely approached the bridge, but as he tried to swim under it, his head became lodged between the pilings. He frantically bobbed his head up and down and thrashed his tail to free himself. It was a terrible moment. The people trying to save Humphrey thought it might be the end. Humphrey was stuck. Suddenly, Humphrey lifted one fin way out of the water, almost touching the bridge. As he twisted his body, he broke free from the pilings and swam through to the other side. There was a shout from the banks of the river, then another and another until everyone was cheering. Hooray for Humphrey, they shouted. He made it. Humphrey, the lost whale, was finally on his way home. A whole flotilla of boats and the clanging of pipes behind him helped Humphrey find his way down the river. Finally, Humphrey arrived at San Francisco Bay. Humphrey spent one whole day happily swimming around the bay. He did tricks for the people gathered along the shore to see him one last time. They oohed when he slapped his tail, and they awed when he leapt into the air and belly flopped back into the water. Humphrey seemed to be saying goodbye and thank you to all his friends who had helped save his life. The people who had helped rescue Humphrey also felt grateful. Humphrey had taught them a lot about humpback whales. He had also become a good friend. Many times during his ordeal, Humphrey could have simply flicked his tail and overturned boats carrying the people who were trying to help him, but he never did. He seemed to understand that they were his friends. Finally, in the late afternoon fog, Humphrey swam under the Golden Gate Bridge and back out to sea. Humphrey the whale had made it. He was finally home. Now there's a fun little author's note at the end of this about Humphrey. Now Humphrey made it out and he would come back every year and they would see him. He was spotted in around different islands and in another bay that was nearby. But the crazy thing, Humphrey did not have good luck, because the crazy thing is that in 1990, he actually beached himself accidentally on another beach, and these pictures show him beached there, and they worked for a long time. It's hard to move a whale off of a beach, right? And so they worked a really long time, and finally they were able to spray and get air underneath him and get him up, and they towed him back out and he was free. So twice in his life in a crazy place in the same area, he got in trouble and people saved him. This was Humphrey the Lost Whale. Great story, true story. It's always fun to see those. I'm curious, I wonder if Miss Carrie knew anything about Humphrey. Okay, thank you. This has been so much fun. I'm so glad that you joined us. And a couple of things that I wanted just to note to my, well, actually to anybody who's interested. If you're interested in following me on a Flipgrid or participating, because I know there's always tons of you that have questions you still want to ask or comments you want to make. So Zigazoo and Flipgrid are the places to do that. And you can email me at page_a@4j.lane.edu. And I can send you the parent permission slip, because you do need to have parent permission if you are 12 and under. And then I can send you the codes to join our group, and you can share your reactions to our field trips and to other things that we're going to be doing this spring. I got to give a shout out to my girl Jordan. She was the first one who's joined my Zigazoo group. It was awesome to see your video. Thank you for participating. I hope I get to see more of you there, because it's always a small torture not to be able to hear all your questions. So I'll ask a question and you answer it and share something about our field trip. So I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I will see you not next week because it's spring break. Happy spring break. I hope you have a great one. And then I'll see you the week after, and we get to visit Oregon Coast Glassworks and learn how they make beautiful glass artwork by blowing glass. It's very cool. So hopefully you can join me. I hope you have a great spring break. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye, friends.